course, we deal with this extensively on justaword.org. We have several Shabbat articles, when the Shabbat ends, when it begins, a whole lot of things. But I just like to deal with the level of the Shabbat, because these Pharisees, so-called Jewish, have added level to the Shabbat, and the whole world has run with the level. Okay? The whole world has run with the level of the Shabbat. And this, of course, is caused by, more or less, by their interpretation of one single verse. All right? Now, the Shabbat might not seem like a salvation issue when the Shabbat starts. Oh, if I keep the Shabbat from the evening before, there's nothing wrong with it. Well, you're actually adding to the word, and you're actually believing a lie. And remember, as we said before, that the Most High gives you truth. The more you accept his truth, the more he gives you more truth. And he wants you to prove all things. And if you hang on to a lie, that means you love a lie. And of course, it says you cannot enter the kingdom loving a lie. When you're in ignorance, it is different. All right? But you have to know the truth. And we already looked at Revelation 22:15. Let's look at it again, which lays the foundation for the reason why this is absolutely necessary. Revelation 22:15 tells us that for without means outside the kingdom, are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So if you love a lie, you cannot enter into the kingdom. You have to move from truth to truth. And so, here is one of the verses that the so-called Jewish and the Seventh-day Adventists use to say that the Shabbat starts in the evening of Friday. Of course, Brother Wayne has simplified it by just telling you that if you stop using these days that they created, that man created by their traditions, Frig's Day or Frigga's Day, which is Friday, all right? If you started using the 6th day and the 7th day, then you'll realize that the Shabbat cannot start on the 6th day, because there's no commandment in scripture for you to start it on the 6th day. But anyway, let's go and see what these people have conjured up. The Sabbath lie, Genesis 1, verse 5. Read it, please.
And Allah called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day.
This is the verse that they use. So the evening and the morning were the first day. So they take it away from the light day and the darkness night, and now say the evening and the morning were the first day. Of course, this actually means he called the light day, then evening came, then the next morning. This is day one. Let me explain it. And Allah called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. If you look to the original Hebrew, this original Hebrew says, and the darkness he called night, and were the evening, and the morning, day the first. And were the evening, and the morning, day the first. So it is saying that the evening came, and were the evening. And then it's referring now back to the original morning and says, and the morning, day the first. So that day in which it was referring to, it tells you that the evening came and the morning was the first day. All right, we're going to clarify it. That is what they use. And that is that sort of thin kind of verse that can be looked at in either direction that they have used to say that the day begins in the evening. But we're going to look at a few other verses and bring it into perspective. Exodus 20, verse 8. Shemot 20, verse 8. We're going to look at the original Shabbat commandment.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Okay, remember the Sabbath what?
Day to keep it holy.
And the Sabbath night?
Nope.
All right, let's see the importance of that. Remember the Sabbath. All right, this is Shabbat. Intermission, that is the Sabbath. But we're going to look at the meaning of day. And we have to understand the concordance as well. The concordance was written by Gentiles. So the Gentiles are going to try to fit in their Gentile doctrines in the concordance. There are some Hebrews who don't use a concordance at all because they say, man, the Gentiles, the Edomites created it in order to get you to believe their way. But I beg to differ. The truth is in there and the lie is in there. All right? So we're going to look at the truth and the lie about day. So the meaning of day, I don't know if you can see it. All right, let me do it as you can see it. Meaning of day is actually yom. The Hebrew yom.
Yeah.
From an unused root meaning to be hot. So the root word of day means to be hot. A day as the warm hours, whether literally from sunrise to sunset or from one sunset to the next. So they put in this one sunset to the next because it is for the Jewish. But it's really from sunrise to sunset, the hot, warm hours. That is a day. That is what a day means. So remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath warm part of the day from sunrise to sunset to keep it holy. But let's look a little more. And let's go to John 11:9. These people have done injustice with the 11. You have to remove the 11. John 11:9. Read, please.
John chapter 11, verse 9. Yahusha answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world.
So when it says a Sabbath day, the 12 hours of Sabbath, that's what it's talking about. Are there not 12 hours in the day?
During the day, yes.
Let's go to Genesis 19.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 34. And it came to pass on the morrow.
Hold on. It came to pass on the when?
On the morrow.
Right. That the firstborn said unto the younger,
behold, I lay yesternight with my father.
I lay last night with my father. On the morrow, I lay last night.
Yes.
So, if the day began in the evening, how can last night be the night before? Yeah. How can the morrow be the next day?
Yeah.
Continue.
Let us make him drink wine this night also.
Oh.
And go
continue.
And go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
Okay, so yesternight, last night, and then we have the morrow, and then tonight also. It shows us that tonight, yesternight was not the same day. Just give me a little touch of some of the little verses. Numbers 11:32. We could be here all day doing this. Trust me. If the post on justaword.org has maybe about 10,000 words. Very detailed. You can check it out. It's called When Does the Sabbath Begin? It's the #1 post on justaword.org. Numbers 11:32. Read, please.
Numbers chapter 11, verse 32. And the people stood up all that day.
Oh, all that day they stood up, right?
Yep.
And then?
And all that night.
And then?
All the next day.
Stop there. If the day began in the evening, how can we have all that day and all that night and all the next day? You see that, bro?
Yep, it's specifying times and and given this is describing that it's night, it's day. It's night, it's day.
Thank you very much. and all the next day. And it shows you that the next day is not at night.
Yeah.
Or evening.
So it's an all day and it's an all night.
And all the next day.
Yeah.
Exodus 16:23-25. This is the leaven of the Sabbath, the leaven of the Shabbat.
Exodus 16, verse 23. And he said unto them, this is that which Yahuwah hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yep.
So tomorrow is so Sabbath is a tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see if the tomorrow is in the evening.
All right.
Continue.
All right. And it says, tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto Yahuwah. Bake that which ye will bake today.
Mm-hmm.
And seeth that ye will seeth.
Seeth.
And that, seeth. And that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Until the morning. And the morning is what?
Sabbath.
Verse 24.
The day. And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein.
Why didn't it stink? The next verse is gonna tell you why it didn't stink, and it's gonna tell you which day is tomorrow. In the morning. In the morning. I don't know where these people come from with this evening to evening Sabbath. It's so crazy. In the morning. Verse 25.
And Moses said, eat that today.
Oh, for today is what?
For today is a Sabbath unto Yahuwah.
Hey. Go ahead.
Today ye shall not find it in the field.
All right. Bake what you'll bake today. Tomorrow is the Sabbath. Tomorrow is the rest. Tomorrow is the Sabbath. And they laid it up until the morning. The morning. Yeah. And today, this morning is the Sabbath.
But bro, isn't it interesting that the nights, we already rest on the night. So why would the Most High also tell us to rest again on the night?
To rest again in the
night, in the evening, because that is what we already do.
Yes.
So it will be pointless for him to tell us, guys, rest on this night. No, because we rest already on the night.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. No, we are not done.
Brother B, I see where it is all coming from. Religion, because 99.99% of them did not read it. They heard from their leader. That's it.
Yes.
And they father come, look and see. I show it to them and they just believe it.
11.
And the next thing is, we have to remember that Satan say he wants to be like the Most High, right?
Yeah.
So if the Most High set forth a Sabbath day, Satan gonna set forth a Sabbath night.
Yeah.
So if what those guys are doing from Friday is doing the Sabbath unto Satan.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Opposites.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, another one. All right, do Zephaniah 3:3.
Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 3.
Yeah.
The princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They gnaw not the bones till the morrow.
All right. They are evening wolves, and they gnaw not the bones till the morrow. Evening is not the morrow. The morrow is in the morning. Let's go another translation to get what I'm saying. Read verse 3 again, please, in English Standard Version.
Her officials within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves that leave nothing till the morning.
So the evening is not the morning. The evening is not the morrow.
Yeah.
You see that, bro?
Yeah.
1 Samuel 19:11.
Saul sent messengers to David's house to watch him, that he might kill him in the morning.
Kill him when?
In the morning.
In the what?
In the morning.
All right.
Tomorrow.
Continue.
But Michal, David's wife, told him, if you do not escape with your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed.
Oh, so we have he will be killed in the morning.
Yeah.
And Michal overheard, and Michal said, tomorrow you will be killed. That means tomorrow is when?
In the morning.
Yes. Tomorrow is a new day.
So they were in the night talking about the morrow.
And tomorrow is?
And tomorrow is the morning.
Yes. So the day begins in the morning. The day cannot begin in the evening, people. That's from Babylon. They got it from Babylon.
Wow.
Leviticus 23:27. This is the one that we need to explain. I've explained it to you last time, I think, was in our third day fellowship. But let's just explain it now. Again. This is the one that the Seventh-day Adventists throw at you. They repeat, from even to even, you must celebrate your Sabbath. This is one of the things that they use. I want you to look carefully. Just 2 verses, we're going to look at the account of the Day of Atonement. Read, please. Verse 27 and 32, we're going to look at. Read, please.
Leviticus 23, verse 27. Now on the 10th day of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement. It shall be for you a time of holy convocation, and you shall afflict yourselves and present a food offering to Yahweh.
All right. Now, on the what? Which day?
On the 10th day.
All right. So the Day of Atonement is on the 10th day. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now read verse 32.
Verse 32. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict yourselves on the 9th day of the month, beginning at evening.
Oh, on which day? Wait. The Day of Atonement is what day?
It's on the 10th day.
It's on the 10th day. But it's telling you here, on the 9th day.
On the 9th day of the month, beginning at evening.
Yes. Continue.
Right? Yeah. Beginning at evening. From evening to evening shall you keep your Sabbath.
So this is what they're saying. From evening to evening. They just pick out this part. Just pick it out. And leave the rest. Because the Day of Atonement, if you're looking carefully, is on the 10th. But he's telling you that you have to start celebrating it from the 9th.
Yes.
At evening.
Yeah.
Until the 10th at evening.
Yeah.
So the 9th day of the first evening is a different day from the 10th day at evening. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Hope so. It's so obvious. All right? And the fact that it ends at evening tells you that the Sabbath ends at evening, which is what we're going to look at next. Because some people now will say, okay, Sabbath begins in the morning. But it is a 24-hour Sabbath. Because they are now using this verse. That's why you see the secret to the scriptures. Precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line upon line, there a little, here a little, there a little. You cannot take a one verse and make doctrine. That's what it's actually saying with all what I just said a while ago.
Yeah.
Even if a one verse sounds as if it's saying so convincing, because look, I'm going to show you this verse. This verse sounds so convincing. Matthew 28:1. To say, okay, the Sabbath is 24 hours and it ends a little bit before morning. Matthew 28, verse 1.
Now after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb.
All right. Now, after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day of the week. Now the person seeing this, and this is what they use to make their 24-hour Sabbath that starts in the morning and ends a little bit before the morning. Because it says after the Sabbath, toward the dawn of the first day of the week. So the Sabbath to them ends a little before the dawn of the first day of the week. They think that this is what this is saying. All right? But what he's actually saying is saying after the Sabbath day was over, and the Sabbath day was over the evening before. And we're going to prove that because we're going to look at this same account in the book of Mark, which is going to prove to us that the Sabbath ends in the evening. Mark 16, verses 1 to 2.
When the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome bought spices so that they might go and anoint him.
All right, so after the Sabbath, they bought spices. And you know, we can't buy and sell on the Shabbat. When the Shabbat is over, then you can buy and sell. All right?
Yeah.
Remember, after the Sabbath was over, she bought spices. So if you go back to Matthew 28:1, Matthew 28:1 told you after the Sabbath, but he did not tell you what happened after the Sabbath.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back here. So after the Sabbath, they bought spices. Very important. And verse 2 says?
And very early on the first day of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very early on the first day of the week. Now, this is showing us that it's speaking about a different day, but let's continue. And very early on the first day of the week, what happened?
When the sun had risen, they went to the tomb.
All right. So after the Shabbat, if the Shabbat had finished right early in the morning, how could they very early on the first day of the week, where would they buy spices early in the morning? Were they the early morning malls over there at that time, 24-hour malls?
No.
Right? When the Sabbath was past, when the Sabbath was over, in the evening, they went and bought spices. So after the Sabbath, the places would open back for the people to go and now buy things that they couldn't buy on the Sabbath day.
Yeah.
So they bought it. And so early, and then early in the morning, now they woke up and went to the tomb.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's just it. Well, that can't stay. There are so many of them here. I'll just leave it at that. But just to say, this is the level of the Shabbat. They have added to the Shabbat, and as truth seekers, as those who are in the way, we have to seek out the truth. Because the Messiah says, he is the way, the truth, and the life. So we have to be truth seekers and follow the truth. The Shabbat does not begin in the evening before. The Shabbat is the seventh day. It begins on the morrow, on the morning of the seventh day, and ends at sunset. It is a 12-hour Shabbat. All right? Shamuel really spoke the right thing when he said they normally slept in the evening, so why would he let them give them a Shabbat to sleep in the evening? It's the same thing. The Shabbat was a rest from work. They usually worked during the day hours. All right? They never usually worked at night. So that is why it is a rest. All right? And the rest does not begin in the evening. It begins in the morning of the seventh day and ends at sunset on the seventh day. All right? So this was our look at the hidden danger of leaven as we are in the feast, the middle of the feast of unleavened bread. And we are looking at the significance of the feast as it relates to leaven in our lives and leaven in everything that we do. Because the tendency of man is to add and to subtract from what the Most High has given us. So the Most High is saying, do not add nor take away from my word.